Hello, everyone. Hi, happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days. I am your host, Araceli Aviles, and to this direction, I'm going to get that right one day. One day I'm going to get that right. This direction we have.
Hey guys, Justin Hareld here.
And below me we have
Michael Mattis. How are you?
Yeah.
Happy Oscar Sunday, everybody.
Yes.
Happy Oscar Sunday. Everyone, forgive me if I'm a little slow today. You're not going to get super hyped up Araceli today, even though on yesterday I texted these guys saying, "Did you see this and this and this?" And I was in a mood, but I am. Well, it was a long night.
Yeah.
It was a long night. So you're going to get a little bit more subdued, Araceli, today.
Yeah. Can I just say, for people wondering, Tony is out working, but he will join us next week. I know some people were messaging me or wondering what happened to Tony, but yeah, he's still here. He's out working.
Did you hear about Tony?
Yes.
Working. And we are brunch. Here holding down the fort.
He's working a brunch in, where is it, Hermosa Beach?
Yeah.
And y'all don't know the landscape out here of good old Los Angeles, but getting from Hermosa Beach to where Tony lives is bad news bears. So rather than, bust butt to get home to do the show, he's having a relaxing Sunday post working his brunch. So
yes.
Yeah. They're just places you don't drive unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah. Hermosa Beach to the Valley on a Sunday when you're trying to rush.
No.
On Oscars Sunday.
Oh, yes.
On Oscars Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, traffic around, I'm not that far from the Dolby Theater, and traffic around here hasn't been too terrible. But
it's just like once you get into the streets, it's an
the actual Hollywood. Yeah. Oh, yeah, with all the street closures.
It's a nightmare.
People know just to stay home in that area or don't go there. Yeah.
What you doing on Oscar weekend? Nothing, because you're staying home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But we're here.
We're here, and we're going to have a good time. So before we get into it, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Thank you, Michael, for keeping me on track.
You're welcome.
Follow us on all social media. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Download us, take us on a walk with you wherever you are going. And don't forget to buy our merch as well. We have merch on dishindays.threadless.com. If you haven't heard, we have 2 new designs, so go check those out. And help support our little show here.
Little show.
Yeah.
Keeps trucking along.
All right. So I had texted you guys what I thought of this week. What did you guys think?
You made your, before I even had a chance to watch anything.
Yeah.
You made it, yes. And I was telling you before the show, while I was watching, I was like, she probably didn't. She didn't like. This is So it was an interesting week. We got some movement with some things. Again, some things are happening rather quickly, like in the blink of an eye, kind of. But yeah, I thought it was not quite, we have the info weeks where it's just conversations and nothing's really moving along, but we got some movement this week. So it was like an info week plus. How about that?
Yeah. Same here. I thought it was a decent week, how things were moving. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a decent week. I like the pacing. I felt like the storylines were moving. It wasn't great compared to sort of last week. I didn't think it was as good, but I thought it was a decent week this week.
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so tired.
Yep,
I am
decent.
so
all right.
Yeah.
And without further ado, it's time to start
Dishin Days. Wow.
Oh, wow. That was good.
Not bad.
That was a good one.
Oh, there must be a delay because I went and no one else did it. So from my end, we were very off, but...
We'll see how it sounds later.
For me, it sounded perfect almost.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right.
I think I have a delay too.
I'll go with perfect. How about
my
that?
internet seems to,
Ta-da.
I have a water bottle here. But I need to put it right side up. Okay.
Okay, let's get to our first storyline, which actually I was really entertained by this week. It probably goes to the top of my list, which was Belle,
definitely.
Johnny, John, Marlena, and Sean. So let's start with the exorcism. That was really
Are we just gonna
not.
have like, okay, so like back in the original storyline, the exorcism was like a big deal, you know?
Mhm.
But now it's like, okay, it's Friday, we're gonna do an exorcism. You know what I mean? It just it didn't have the, obviously because it's the second one in a couple months, it didn't have really the impact that the first one did. It was kind of just like, all right, they're doing another exorcism, and it was fun to see Martha Madison and as Belle possessed.
Yeah.
She's quite funny like that. But yeah, just another Friday in Salem, even though it was Monday.
Justin?
Yeah, it seemed kind of, like you said, lackluster. Just because, again, it was the second one. It was really like John, Marlena, and Johnny, who was JoDevil, I should say, and Sean. It was good that he was there and showed. Am I pausing?
No, you're good.
Okay. So on my end, it's like pausing, so I can't tell if you guys are seeing it too. Yeah, and also the fact that she isn't really, she's kind of slightly possessed, but not really, since it's JoDevil sort of jumping in and out of her kind of quickly, just for a few quick beats kind of a thing. So it was kind of like, oh, okay. I liked what happened after it. And I liked Belle sort of dealing with the idea that she was possessed and everything that came with that. I felt like that was the highlight of the story.
Okay, I have an issue. The coat needs to go.
Yeah.
Yes. The red coat. I'm sorry. This is twice now that red coat has caused some shit. And what does she do? She's like, okay, do you see anything on it? And I was like, good, they're going to get rid of it. No, she puts the coat back on. And I'm like, throw it out. Take yourself to Burlington Coat Factory. Get a nice teal or something. Get rid of the red coat.
It was already a bad coat it's not like a chic coat. It looks like Little Red Riding Hood's coat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when
it's cursed now. It really is.
Yeah, when she pulled that out with showing Sean, I'm like, oh my god, she still has the coat. Like, girl,
oh, it was a present from Sean.
Retire it.
I guess I forgot that part. It was a.
I think Sean would allow it.
Yeah, I think you can get rid of it. I really
think.
Okay, Sean needs to go to Burlington Coat Factory.
Yeah.
Get her a nice other coat and be like, okay,
Sean's
we're getting rid of this.
Sean's a good husband. He would be more than happy to get her a new coat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a big deal.
I feel like it's them like trolling us though now because it's just like we'll show them the coat, we'll make it part of the storyline like it was before.
Yeah. But yeah, to your point, Justin, that was probably one of my favorite parts was Belle dealing with the aftermath of it, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that we didn't really get to see Marlena dealing with the aftermath of her exorcism this time, and only now we're kind of getting the catch up of the consequences that Marlena is facing because of it. And now Belle thinks that she's done all of this damage and it's gone by really fast, but we're watching in real time how she's like making amends for things she did. And that's been really great to see Martha Madison shine in those scenes. This was a very heavy Belle week, and I loved every single scene.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, and I've seen some comments about. Sorry, I was trying to do two things. Can't do two things at once. Not that smart. Sorry. No, I saw some comments about how Martha Madison and Brendan Beamer too, like they've been the supporting couple, in terms of like hierarchy of the show, and they can lead the show.
Yes.
And this was a week, especially talking about Martha Madison, prove that. So, throw Martha Madison in there, give her like some good stuff. She can do it, and I think she can be, the next great heroine.
And they're not just leading the show as a couple. You see that they're really shining with other people. Sean is doing very well as the interim chief of the department, and you see him really just stepping up and doing what needs to get done.
Yeah.
And then Belle, by the same token, is doing everything that she needs to get done. She talked to I don't know how many people this week. Just, you know, she went right into not apologetic mode, just like I there are things that I have to do. I'm not going to rest. I'm not going to, you know, sit down and try to take this in. I'm going to go and get stuff done. I'm going to go talk to EJ. She had that conversation with Jake. And it was just really great to see how, you know, these are two I feel like we spent too much time in like the mid 2010s focusing on like them split up and then the relationship drama that was kind of unnecessary. And this proves, like, again, you can have drama, you can create drama for two leading characters without, and they can still be in a stable relationship.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you both that Martha Madsen and Brandon should be front and center. Like, give them real quality storylines to do. They can pull it off. And they have connections to the show and the history with the show, and yeah,
they're both legacy characters. So
yeah, give us more of them. Yeah, I loved Martha. I think just killed it this week. Other scenes with EJ, where we're again, we've talked about, like, are they going there with them in the future? Are they're building towards something? We don't know what it is. We don't know if it's going to be romantic. We don't know if it's just going to be a like friendship thing, which could actually be interesting. We've talked about before. EJ doesn't, outside of like Lexi, he doesn't have like relationships with women, and he doesn't really have friendships with women. So I think
he don't really have friendships, period.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think this could be an interesting place to take them. Again, I have no idea. I'm hoping it's not romantic and we don't get another one of those storylines. But I think if it was a friendship thing, it also contributes to like the animosity between Belle and Sammy and how they've been sort of going at it the last couple of years. So I think it could be interesting. I loved
but Belle and EJ
with Sean, and especially
together,
in the scene with Jake.
In terms of animosity,
yeah, that's or like them being best friends. Yeah, like what you know
exactly.
That would drive a
Yeah. I take your lead. Well, you know, those scenes with, let's talk about Jake for a second. Those scenes with Jake and Belle were really interesting because I don't think that Jake would have blamed Belle, but I think him thinking that Belle was possessed versus Johnny possessed, he might have had a softer tone about it just because it was Belle and it was unexpected. But he really, they both shown in those scenes as well. It was like, he doesn't have a relationship with this person. I don't think they've ever had scenes together.
I know. And
and you know, thinking that she did this terrible thing to him, he was like, I 100% don't blame you. I get it. This was not in your control. And he really just went out of his way to comfort this person that he really doesn't know.
Yeah. I think he was so relieved to finally like have answers or concrete sort of proof that he was like I forgive you, like, don't worry about it. I'm just glad like I can get this explained. And at that point he thought I can get Gabby back, or I could like straighten this whole thing out. And like I really like that he was very concerned about Gabby knowing the truth and not thinking that not having her think that he double crossed her, and like her knowing that. So I thought that was a really good angle to take. It wasn't about, you know, you ruined our plan for Demira. It was really more about Gabby and their relationship. Yeah.
And you know, this is going to be one of those big, we talk about umbrella stories and how this has gone on for a long time. And I think one of the reasons that this time around is having so much weight with the devil jumping into different people is that you question how well you know people, and you question, you know, the strength of your relationships. So that's why, you know, John picked it up so fast that something was very wrong with Marlena. That's why Julie picked it up so fast. We didn't get to see Doug possessed for very long, but Julie was just on the quickness. She was like, something's not right. Something's not right. And she could this is her partner. Something's not right. And with Johnny, that no one has gotten it.
Yeah.
No one has gotten it.
Jake was
really
convinced,
horrible.
but then he was convinced, he was convinced otherwise.
Yeah.
But then we've talked about the fact that the people who have been convinced that Johnny was possessed are not people he is close to.
Yeah.
And how awful is that?
It's he doesn't really have anyone on his team. Like, I think Sammy, if Sammy were around, I think she would pick up on a closer relationship with EJ, maybe, or maybe Allie if he had a better relationship with her.
Allie would be right, because Allie's the twin, and this show has a history of making twins have like that ESP, like Sammy and Eric back in the day.
Yeah.
So if anyone should have picked up on it, it's Allie, and she didn't. But maybe it's blindness because she's wrapped up in her own stuff, and what Johnny did to her was kind of like just something a pissy brother would do. You know what I mean? It wasn't like so horrific that she'd would immediately go to, oh no, he's probably possessed again.
But that what he did to Chanel was actually was the horrific part, and all of these things put together really should tip Allie off. And the fact she's
got love blinders on.
She's got love blinders on, and that's gonna come back to bite her. Although here's what I actually think might happen. So the devil we saw first. I don't know how nobody saw JoDevil's hand on Belle's leg.
I know. That was something as viewers we just have to be like, all right, it's obvious they would see it, but for the sake of this, we'll let it go.
Yeah. So
I guess.
Yeah. But so he does that, convinces people in the room of the possession. And then I forgot where I was going with this. Guys, I promise you I was going somewhere with that. Oh man, I thought I was doing so well. Oh, I know where I was going with this. So he convinces Belle. Belle's convinced that now she is the one who set EJ up.
Mm-hmm. As Abigail.
Yes, as Abigail. And I think that though EJ is not hopeful that that's going to be a convincing argument to get him released, I actually do think it would be a convincing argument. And
wasn't there and there were some episodes I missed a few months ago, but didn't someone see video, or maybe I'm making this up, like video footage from the courthouse of EJ being in two places at once, or am I completely making that up?
I think they would have found that by now, but I think that this adds weight to it. I think it's a better shot than he's had in a while, and plus now Chad feeling guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to get him out. I do think for many reasons I think that EJ is going to get out sooner than he thinks. And what I'm hoping is that EJ is the one to finally figure out what's going on with his kid.
I mean, it could be. Yeah. He's been kind of separated from it. Yeah. He's been kind of, he's been in jail. Yeah. So he hasn't been with Johnny. So yeah, maybe that'll be the factor when EJ's out. He's going to think, oh, something's wrong with the boy. And yeah. I do like how Kate was just like, let's blame the devil. I was like, I like Kate.
Pretty brilliant.
Do anything and blame the devil.
Like devious brilliant. and unfortunately, like Belle will take on that weight. But I was kind of like, oh my god, genius! Like, why didn't other people think of this?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good plan, and I see it. Yeah, and I really don't think Belle. Well, she might face some consequences, but I don't think it would be to the extent that she thinks, because she didn't have. She thinks that she had interactions with these people, but even then it's a small amount of people. And probably the worst damage that she thinks she did was to EJ and to Jake. And in EJ's case, I think she has a good chance of fixing it. And in Jake and Gabby, well, Gabby was the one who still ran with her worst suspicions.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean about not knowing your partner?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
a lot.
we got some really good movement though with these. Like a lot of stuff came out, even if it's misdirected and they don't know it's really JoDevil. At least like a lot of this is out and it's on the table and people can kind of pick things up from there.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to happen to Gabby. I know that I'm just she was on my sick and tired list this week. I'm sick and tired of Gabby thinking that she knows best, that she just lashes out. She had no cause to fire Kate. I mean,
right.
and to think that she's a better businesswoman than Kate is.
So back in the day, we kind of, gave Gabby somewhat of a pass for her misdoings based on the fact that she was basically, for a while, the character of Gabby was kicked while she was down. And she went to jail for something. I think she went to jail for something she didn't do while she was in was framed by Abigail. She went to prison for something she didn't do, during which she was beat up to the point where she couldn't have any more children. So when she got out, that messes with a person. So we gave her a pass for a while, but now
and this is after this. Well, this was after the torture that Nick threw on her,
and that's after everything that she did, everything that Nick did to her, and her being blamed for his murder still, even though it was self-defense. And we give her a pass for that. But now it's to the point where she's just being petty now, and she doesn't know what she's doing. She's being
petty to people
who could help her, who could be allies.
Well,
Kate said it
people
best.
who have really done nothing to her.
Kate has been her friend and ally for a long time, and for her to just fire her because she did kind of side with Johnny, she didn't side with Johnny. She sided against
Chad.
Johnny. Yeah, she sided with Chad, but if Gabby was smart, she would keep Kate on because Kate has been on her side pretty much the whole time. So now she's shooting herself in the foot by, burning bridges with the people who have been on her side.
Yeah. And Kate could easily go against Gabby, but she's not that level of petty. She sees her for what she is right now, which is a young, inexperienced woman who thinks that she knows everything and knows nothing.
Yeah,
I don't have time. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I think we're headed towards maybe like some humbling of Gabby with the storyline. Now that we find out Jake wasn't it was especially important for her to know the truth, but he also walking in on her and Johnny was sort of like, it made him reevaluate things. And even though she knows the truth, she seemed apologetic, but it was like, okay, you broke some trust here by easily believing that I would double cross you. And so I'm hoping she has some humbling in her future. I would really love to see the Kate and Gabby relationship get back on track. Because
they do have to get someone
sort of a mentor to her. And
someone reminded us that they were, both into Jake for a while, and there was that.
But technically, Kate didn't.
No one cheated, right?
Jake. Nobody cheated.
Yeah, no one deceived one another. It was
they were deceived, but then technically Gabby wronged Kate, not the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense that she has so much animosity towards Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate has done nothing but help her. Kate risked her relationship with Chad to help Gabby. Yeah. She's had to do a lot of atoning for that one. And she chose Gabby in that situation. So it was it just doesn't make sense.
She's not thinking, she's thinking just like short. She's thinking with her short-term feelings and not looking at what the bigger picture should be.
And that's why she has no friends.
And that's why she has no.
I hope we get. Yeah, I hope we get a change there, because I know we love the character. We of course love Camila. But the way they've been writing her the past year and a half just hasn't made a lot of sense to us. And I don't know if there's this overall arc they're trying to do with her, or if not. But I think this would be the time to introduce that, like introduce a change or introduce some sort of like, I don't know, humbling moment with her.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure. And to that end, I'm not sure. somebody's gonna need to explain why Sonny is sticking around.
I know.
And why Will is leaving and then taking Ariana back to Arizona. I just need somebody to explain it. If it's as simple as Ariana is settled in school over there and they don't want to pull her out in the middle of the year, that's good enough explanation for me, but they need to explain it.
They did make a mention of school, like a very brief mention, but that they didn't mention it as the reason Will was taking her back.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just kind of like a comment. I think that
because
Sonny
otherwise
made.
I would say, well, if one parent is sticking around, is this temporary? Is this long term? Are they going to be moving back? That hasn't been made clear. And I think if that were cleared up, then I'd be like, oh, great, we're getting Ariana. And then Gabby can be a full-time parent again and she has something else to do. Because the other thing is, Ariana was born 2013. So she's coming up on her preteen years.
Yeah.
But they could easily age her into
they could easily age into
16,
a teenager
17, like
as
high
well.
School,
or even like 13, 14.
Yeah,
would still be. But you see what I mean? That those couple of years that she's entering into is like, I could think of nothing more humbling for Gabby than to have the little mini version of herself right in front of her.
Yeah.
How do we feel? And just, I know he's doing this because he's possessed by the devil. Do we see any? Do you guys feel anything between, like, if Johnny and Gabby?
No, just because it's from the possession. Like, I think it'd be different if there was an attraction or they flirted beforehand.
Even
and something
in their
happened.
scenes together, people will say, "Oh my God, they're hot there," but they're not. I didn't get the "they're hot together" part. I didn't feel any electricity there.
Okay.
I see. Yeah, I think they play well together.
Yeah, I mean, they're just it's just chemistry.
And I think that part's interesting, but them together as a couple, I'm not getting it. Yeah. Honestly, it makes me feel bad for Johnny because it makes me just think like they're both being taken advantage of, but him especially since he has no control over it. So
yeah, I mean, logistically, it's not great, and then chemistry wise, I just wasn't feeling it. And when like the most famous example being Ben and Ciara. I know like there will be people who will forever hate Ben, but you cannot deny that from the second that they had a scene together, from that very first scene, Ciara was unconscious.
Yeah.
And they still had chemistry.
They even gave like a picture. A picture was released of the two of them and people went ape. Like, that's how it transmits. But
I
was just curious.
It's not something that you can necessarily quantify. But so no, that's my long-winded answer of saying no. I don't see it working.
I don't know. I was kind of digging it, but
oh my God, I just saw the
what? The what, Justin?
No, I was going to say Shonda972 just wrote the most amazing comment. Shonda972. She's saying, what if they brought back Lauren Bowles as a teenage Ari?
Oh. I think Ari this point, up to this point, has been blonde, but that's not saying that they could, they switch stuff up like that all the time. So she could, and she was a solid,
that caught my eye.
She was solid as a little kid, so she's probably solid as a teenager. But I was gonna say, like, I don't know, I was feeling something with Johnny and Gabby, but maybe that was more Johnny than Gabby.
Yeah, that might be the case.
Shout out to Carson Bowman. Yeah.
Well, that's a given. Yeah, that's an always given. Yes.
Okay, I think that's it for this storyline.
I think that was that story.
Yeah. So let's move on to the bane of my existence.
I was like, let's get this over with second.
Will, Sonny, Leo, Craig, Chad, and Abigail. Okay. So we left off last week with Will and Sonny trying to convince Chad to go along with this plan to get Leo in a compromising position. And his initial reaction was our initial reaction, is our continued reaction. But then he agreed to it.
Then they brought Abigail into it.
And then she agreed to it. I know this is a soap opera. And so my next question is going to be somewhat ironic. But does anyone find any part of this realistic?
No. It's I think
one thing I will say.
I think the intent was to be campy and funny, and it's falling flat. And for some reason this time around, whereas we liked Leo during his first run, and we liked Leo in Beyond Salem, Leo 3.0 is just annoying. And every time he talks, I want to tell him to shut the fuck up. I'm just like, no, you just... So, one, I really am not feeling, this character that is the center of this storyline. And number two, it's just the motivation of Sonny, I guess. I'm just not buying it. And
it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense that he would go this far. They tried once, let it play out. Craig is a big boy. He can handle it. But then he basically admitted, no, it's not even about Craig. It's just about revenge. And it's just like, get over it. It's I don't know. It's just falling flat for me. And the fact that they went, and the fact that Chad agreed to it, the fact that they roped Abigail into it, she agreed with it. I feel like Abigail would be the one to be like,
are you all crazy?
Yeah, what are you smoking? Because this is I feel like she would have been like the voice of reason, but no, she went along with it and actually played a part, an active part in it. And I don't know. But I think it was the intent was to be campy and funny.
I will say that
it's falling flat.
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I will say this. I still don't like it. I'm with everyone, but I will say I do slightly appreciate the sort of, not reasoning, but the perspective of Sonny. I thought actually Zach did an amazing job sort of explaining it, even though it still doesn't carry or uplift the storyline for me. But I did like the idea of like, he is somewhat traumatized from this. So I felt like, okay, we're revisiting this part of his history with Leo, even though it hasn't been carried throughout their other interactions. I'm like, okay, like, I feel like like I said before, even in the stuff with Beyond Salem, they were more like frenemies then, where they like, he didn't like him, but he also like wasn't like hell-bent on destroying him, or like, he was kind of like, okay, like,
that's why it's not working. But that's why it's not working, is because we all saw Beyond Salem, and it just seems like such an overreaction.
It is.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Zach Tinker played the hell out of this week. He really did.
Yeah, Zach was amazing. I thought.
But we were all there to see all these interactions, and so it just doesn't make sense. It's such an overreaction.
But maybe do we think
beyond?
Do we think maybe this is going to lead to something about why it's such an overreaction? Someone made a point about him drinking and about how he poured, that copious amount of scotch when he and Chad cheers, and he did kind of like guzzle it a little bit. So that kind of twinged me. I was like, oh, maybe this is, maybe he's going through something, or
there's got to be. If there's not something else, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not feeling this.
By the way, yes,
if you have to drink heavily, after asking a favor of your friend, then you're not really being a good friend.
I mean,
yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't even pick up. They played it as sort of like, oh, he's doing this to sort of get through. But yeah, that might be something to look out for as Sonny's drinking, or how this is affecting him, or maybe that's his storyline now that Will supposedly isn't going to be around.
Well, yeah, and some people are thinking that Sonny's jealous, that maybe he actually has a thing for Leo, or I mean,
I
it
don't
could
know,
be. We do need some explanation as to why Sonny is so hell bent on this. It's clearly not to protect Craig. It's clearly the focus is clearly Leo.
Mm-hmm.
So what is there?
Yeah.
What is there between? There's got to be something else.
I hope so, because man, the way
Yeah.
the way that this is right now, it's painful. This is painful to watch.
Someone in the chat room, was like, "Oh, this would be more interesting if after Will left, Sonny decided to try to seduce Leo himself and have Craig catch them that way instead of roping Chad."
That would have made more sense. That would have made it
exactly.
1,000 times more sense than what is happening right now.
I thought they brought that up earlier when Chad said, well, why don't one of you do it? And he was like, Leo would see that a mile away, which makes sense. I don't think Leo would have fell for that. Not at this point. I think if they progressed with the storyline and Will wasn't around, maybe they could sell that. But I don't think Leo would fall for it.
Interesting.
But it's there's still a big disconnection here, especially since we're seeing Leo sort of be his sort of smarmy self, but we're not really seeing him do anything terrible. We're not seeing him steal money from Craig.
No.
He's
just kind of annoying.
We're seeing him push.
Yeah. And so you let it play out because he's not technically doing anything wrong right now. Wait for him to slip up because he will.
Yeah, exactly. If he is as bad as you say he is, he will show his true colors. He will slip up. You don't need to force it. All you're going to do is just create more. And Craig's not going to care. If Craig doesn't care about what he did before, or they're both going to see through it. Like, it's just bad plan. Bad plan.
Now, let's.
And also
now, and because of what you just said, we're starting to realize it's like this is a terrible plan all the way around. Not the least of which is that everyone is underestimating the Craig and Leo connection. Now, maybe they're in love. Maybe it's physical. I think everyone here is probably in the camp of that Craig is affected by the syndrome of newly outness.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's his first gay relationship. It's the first relationship where he thinks he can be himself. So of course he's going to go all in 1,000%.
He's all in, and he's going to the point that it will be to his own detriment. So he's going to dig in his heels, and we saw that with how Leo influenced Craig to go after Kayla's job. When they started hearing rumblings that, things were going on and maybe there would be an opening, and we got smarmy Craig back this week.
Mm-hmm.
And why did we get him back? Because of Leo's influence on him.
Yeah.
And again, this is not the first time that we've seen this version of Craig, but it's been a few decades, and we had some growth there, and now it's just.
What I'm hoping for the character of Craig is that he's now gotten a little spark in him, that he will kind of get his edge back. And then eventually, things progress with Leo. He will see Leo for who he is and, himself kind of be empowered to, end the relationship himself without too much trouble being caused for him. Because I don't think Craig would be easily... he's in a sense he's being duped right now, but not we've talked about this. Like, Leo isn't really doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He's just pushing him.
He's kind of pushing him. Yeah.
And then maybe Craig will realize after a while, I don't need Leo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I just don't want, for because, and it's also personal because, Kevin's a friend of ours, but it would be, the character of Craig. I feel like if he knows he's being duped, he's going to do something about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he figures it out, he'll do something about it. He won't just, wallow in a corner
There's so much I want to say, but it goes into what if territory. So I'm just going to let this play out, and I will probably have more to say next week. Because I'm not going to get any less miserable about this.
Yeah.
And mind you, again, you're getting subdued Araceli today. I was much more fired up yesterday. Today I'm just like, ugh, people.
All right.
So we'll see with that storyline.
Yeah.
So, okay. We already talked about, Kayla has lost her job. Marlena has lost her job. We'll see how that goes. People who have gotten their jobs back this week. Rafe is out. Rafe, Nicole, Ava, and Trask. So Ava's plan backfired. And Rafe is
big
free.
time.
And Rafe is free. And he is happily with Nicole. And he's got his job back. And it was all for nothing.
We're back at. Ava's back at square one, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like nothing she was planning worked out. She did make a point that it was Nicole and Rafe. Rafe cheated on her.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that he deserved to be framed and thrown in jail, but they're not completely innocent in the situation. Two wrongs don't make it right, but they're not.
Doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It really, I get Ava's anger so much because even in that room, he just was still not sorry.
No, there was an arrogance with both of them.
Yes, they were still not sorry because at that point when they cheated on her, she wasn't doing anything. She was really trying to be the best. Yeah. She was trying to be a new person. Yeah. She didn't deserve that. And they're just back to, but we're the good guys and you're the bad guy. So why should we be sorry?
It was sort of like her bad deeds allowed them to not feel guilty and feel justified in getting together.
There you go.
It was like, she did this to us. She did this to me. So like, all's forgiven now. I don't have to feel guilty. We don't have to feel guilty about cheating on her. And it was also the Nicole thing too. Like her relationship with Nicole was, they were really good friends. And these were the two people outside of Trip who she relied on and to like help sort of bridge her into this new life of the straight and narrow. So
wasn't it Nicole's idea to live with Rafe?
Yeah. Convinced Rafe to take her.
They screwed her over. Yeah. I did like the scene with I always like their scenes too with Ava and Trip. They have a really good rapport together, and it's really sweet. It was a simple scene, really simple, short scene, but it just goes to show that when the two people have a rapport like that it's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it shows that she can do other stuff, but I still want her. I want Bad Ava back because I feel like she's earned it.
Yeah, I did notice this as a sticking point. Leading up to this, a lot of it was always about like, in order to have Trip in her life, she sort of needed to be a good person and be on the straight and narrow and stuff. I did notice that she's still omitting, of course, that she set Rafe up. She's not going to admit that, but I also know she didn't admit it to Trip either. She kept, so she's keeping that from him. So I wonder if that he knows his mother and he knows that Rafe and Nicole got together. So in this sense, he's feeling some sympathy for his mom, but I wonder if this is going to come back to bite them. If is this going to be the thorn in their relationship? Because
I don't think so.
He has his Trip.
I don't think so because I don't think she'll ever admit it. And I think, honestly, in this situation, I don't think he's going to ask.
Oh, I was thinking more like he'd find out, and then that would be the thing of like.
But there's really no proof. She's not gonna offer it up, and I just think that he wants a relationship with his mother, so he's not gonna ask. He's not gonna go out of his way to. Yeah, he's not gonna go out of his way to incriminate her.
But But what do we think he would do if she was incriminated otherwise? Like, he's not going to go out of his way to incriminate her, but what if he finds out through other means, like someone tells him or what?
I don't think that he would necessarily cover for her, depending on how much he knew, but he wouldn't turn her in.
Yeah.
I think could be turning.
I'm still kind of on the side where I want Tripp to get his edge back.
That's what I was thinking, more in terms of like they sort of meet in the middle, maybe some, like, she's again still trying to be a good person, but he also like he also recognizes her for who she is and is maybe not as upset about it.
I think
kind of
people,
like,
what's really just kind of ridiculous to me is that, people keep asking Tripp, how are you doing? How are you doing? No one's really, Tripp's the only one who's asking Ava how she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And people, it's like, these were two people who were wronged. And I don't get why I don't understand why people think that they should just get up and move on with their lives. They have a right to be angry and stay angry for a little while.
Yeah.
They were the ones that were wronged. They get to be mad about that.
Yeah. I think with Ava, though, because she doesn't have anyone else besides Tripp, you know what I mean? Like, she's not going to get... the only person she would get any sympathy from is Tripp.
Yeah.
And even if people recognize that Rafe and Nicole did her wrong, she's still coming back off being she's the bad guy anyway. You know what I mean? She's starting as the bad guy to begin with. So, yeah.
I stand by my previous statement. Nicole and Rafe are not, Prince Charming Cinderella.
Mm-mm.
I don't care how much they love each other, how different they're not. They're not the be all end all couple. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, and we did see in a promo 1 or 2 weeks ago that Eric comes back, whether it's in a fantasy or reality. So that's hopefully another wrench in that relationship.
Eric was the love of Nicole's life.
Well, yeah, like that's going to be the if Ava wanted, that's what I'm saying. If Ava wanted to ruin that relationship, all she would need to do is get Eric back in town.
Yeah. Eric was the love of Nicole's life, period. The only reason that didn't work is because just because you love someone doesn't mean you can build a life with them.
Yeah.
And you couldn't build a life with someone whose heart was somewhere else. Felt like his life was lacking in something work-wise. In purpose. But he was the love of her life, period.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So hopefully I'm really not above being petty and having hopes that Ava continues to wreak havoc for Rafe and Nicole, because I just think they deserve a happy ending.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay.
All right.
Before we move on to our tidbits, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the Dishin Days goodness. And subscribe on our social media. We're at Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and _ Dishin Days on Twitter. Also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You have your pick of one or all of these choices, as well as buy our merch. We have merch at dishindays.threadless.com. Again, we have 2 new designs to choose from. The island design would be perfect for the upcoming summer months. So go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to our tidbits. We have, oh man, this is a lot. Saray, Xander, Maggie, Tony, Anna, and Abigail. Okay. So we start in the hospital with where Saray has been basically confined and
constrained
to bed. And we get the info that this might not be a permanent thing, or at the very least it's going to take months, maybe years to fix.
Because the damage was because she got a direct non-diluted dose of the drug. The damage to her brain was more severe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben Abigail.
Yes. And
Science.
so, we have a situation where Maggie has to make a tough call because she can't bear to see her daughter committed and doesn't think that she would receive proper treatment there anyways. So okay, I'll start with this question before I move on to the more absurd one. Do we think that Sarah needs to be committed, like fully committed? That she would have better treatment there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that Maggie is just being soft about this situation.
Well, because it's her daughter. It's understandable that it's her daughter, but yes,
we get it. We get it.
Yes.
Any parent who has a child who needs that type of serious help, you don't want it to be the first call that you make.
Exactly.
You want to exhaust every possible option before you get to that one. However, this situation, if you have to lock said child to the bed, I think you've already reached that point.
And convince someone else's husband to move into your house in order to make it happen.
Yes. Now that's the second point. I get that Maggie is at her wit's end, but is this? We know it's not right for Tony and Anna, but did she have a right to even go in that house and ask something that big of them?
I no, but I think again, it's the desperate mother is taking, that part of her is taking over, and yeah, no, I don't like she was. I thought it was unreasonable. I was like Anna. I had the same reaction. I was like, no, don't, like and I guess like, again, if she needs to be restrained in the hospital and you have to convince another woman, like another woman's husband in order to make her come to your house, like you just should send her to Bayview. She'd get better. She's better off there. But Maggie can't see that. She has her mother blinders on.
Yeah, this is pure desperate. Also, it doesn't really make sense. Like, how is Sarah Renee is at the Kiriakis mansion. So the idea is to try and get her to remember she's Sarah, but how are you going to do that if Tony's there and all she wants to do is spend time with Tony?
I mean, basically
Tony,
all they're doing is they're not even
with Tony there. She's sort of going to revel in being Renee.
They're not going to help her remember. All they're doing is encouraging what she thinks, and I can't see how that's going to help. Help the issue. Like the goal should be getting Sarah back, Sarah back to Sarah. But all this is going to do, I feel like, is just push her more into Renee asking for the white pages.
Yep.
Yeah.
That nurse's reaction was the best.
I laughed out loud. It took me a minute, but then when I realized, I laughed out loud.
Oh, that nurse's reaction was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna. And I'm really sick and tired of Tony thinking that Anna is being the unreasonable one.
I know, and Anna, she needs to learn how to have a little finesse sometimes.
Yeah.
However, her reactions have been perfectly reasonable. Yes. Absolutely reasonable. Yeah. Like and her frustration with the situation. Perfectly reasonable and understandable.
And again, Tony, I don't understand how he doesn't know his wife better. This is not it is maybe more selfish than other people's reactions might be, but Anna knows full well that this is not going to help Sarah get back to Sarah. Anna knows full well. Maybe it's more like 80% about Anna and 20% about Sarah, but she knows full well this is not going to work.
Who does? Sorry?
Anna.
Oh, yeah.
She knows full well this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Is she explaining it correctly? No, but she knows that this is not the way to get Sarah back to being Sarah.
No. Yeah, and I thought she was. Yeah. What I will say is I thought I saw like the compassion that Anna had for Maggie this week that I was sort of a little bit missing the previous week for Anna to have for Sarah. So I thought like this week was a lot better for me. Not that I was necessarily on Anna's side last week, but I felt like she could have been a little bit more compassionate towards Sarah's situation. But this week I felt like I got that. I think they did a nice balance this week of having her be compassionate, but also like having the weight of the storyline and what Maggie essentially was asking of them.
And Tony, brought up a good point. What if it was Carrie and Carrie was going through this? And that's kind of what she struggled with that because she was like, maybe
I would do the same thing.
Like, and in that sense, I think that's the only reason that Anna didn't put up a bigger fight is because Anna wouldn't have the strength like someone like Marlena, if that was happening to her kid, would immediately commit them because she's a professional, because she knows she just does what needs to get done. But people like Maggie and Anna, who, let's face it, have pretty much had perfect kids, who have they've had really great kids. They don't really know how to handle it when their kids are in dire straits. We saw what happened when Anna thought that Austin and Carrie were on this Kids and Beyond Salem. She hopped on a plane and said, I'm gonna fix this. And Tony was like, you're gonna do what now? And mind you, that wasn't even a big deal. You know, Carrie and Austin had broken up so many times, but that was just a fight. And Anna immediately got on a plane. So Anna would not, unfortunately, I think Anna would have maybe the same reaction that Maggie is having right now. And so that's how Tony got to her.
Oh, definitely,
So then
I feel like Anna would try and convince all of Salem to play along.
Oh, yeah, she actually would take it further.
So the other side of this storyline was at the hospital with Abigail, and Abigail realizing, well, hey, Dr. Rolfe made the drug, maybe he can make the antidote. How do we feel about that? Do we think that's a good idea, bringing Dr. Rolfe back?
God, I hope so.
I mean, it would be good if he could do it, but we know that Dr. Rolfe
I was like, oh, good. I didn't think of that.
I mean, but he doesn't do things out of the goodness of his heart. Like, it's going to come at a price. And again, do we really want everyone to go through this again? Or because, last time it was Kayla had to give him lab space to make Hope Princess Gina again. And he's going to want something. And I'd be curious to see how they wrote this, if they did bring Rolfe back, what he would want this time.
I assume it's just I would guess the get out of jail free card would entice him enough. Maybe
I guess since he,
and think about it, probably with between everyone's help, between the Demiras and the Kyriakises, they could probably arrange to get him out or some sort of work release or something. That would probably be his ask. Of like, I'll help you. I'll help work on something. Maybe not even like I have an antidote, but I'll help work on something if you get me out of here, kind of a thing.
Right.
And we always love Dr. Rolfe. I
mean, we did. I mean, we love the actor. We love seeing him on screen, and he's not boring. Something has to give, because I really don't think they're really, really not understanding just how bad this could get. I think, they think that she's just delusional. I see is someone who, if she doesn't get her way, is going to be combative.
Already.
And
already.
Again,
you can see that already.
Yes. And it's like, does she actually have to hurt someone? And that's the thing, unfortunately, sometimes with these cases, say you have like a young adult who, you desperately want to get them treatment, but you resist with all your might, and then they have to either hurt themselves or hurt someone before you say, okay, I actually should have taken the most drastic step. Okay, well, that's going to be a disaster, but we'll keep watching. Okay, let's move to Allie, Chanel, Ben, Ciara, Susan, Clyde, EJ. So Allie and Chanel are all lovey-dovey, and Ben and Ciara are right there to support them. I mean, Ciara and Allie are cousins, so she just wants her cousin happy.
Ben just acted, and I don't know if this was scripted or if it was Rob Wilson's acting choices. I just like his awkwardness was just too much. I was like,
Yeah.
It's a lesbian couple. Or not a lesbian couple. I guess they're bisexual, but you know, two girl couple. It's not, you know.
Well, I think it was just the jarring thing of like yesterday she was with Trip and today she's with Chanel and
the shock of seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think? Yeah. I was just gonna say, Sammy would come into town having a way.
Oh no, Sammy's reactions are never good. That's just kind of like we know that that's coming. You know, when Sammy returns to town, it was the same like when Will came out to her, she ran away. You know,
yeah,
it's like
and made it about her.
Yeah.
It made it about her, exactly. But that's in character for Sammy. We expect that from her.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but once the initial, shock wore off, it was kind of nice to see, two happy couples just talking about cake.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, a gender reveal.
Gender reveal cake.
Which guy? Gender reveal on days before. Like a gender reveal party.
Yeah, I mean, people can take or leave, gender reveals, whatever. I'm not picky about it. I'm just, please make it small, okay? Please make it non-flammable.
I was gonna say, as long as you don't start a fire.
Yeah.
As long as you don't start a fire, hurt anyone.
Please don't do anything crazy with like rockets or cannons or fireworks or anything flammable, anything that can fall on you, anything that can be choked on. Can you just no?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of like also like those people who do like the rings and the champagne and don't realize like some people like just guys, you a cake. Nice and sweet. Everyone loves cake.
Cut into a cake. It's pink or blue. You enjoy the cake afterwards.
Yes.
Done. It can be so simple. But I think that's the direction they're going since they asked the bakers of the town to do it. So
just keep it simple, please. Susan knows. I don't know how she could. She just knows. Susan just knows. But it's nice to see that Ben and Ciara and Susan friendship after all she's done for them.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Clyde wanting to know and Clyde being out. I think we need to talk about Clyde being out.
Let's talk about Clyde.
Let's talk about Clyde.
The man that never gets punished for his shit.
Yeah.
And now he's out.
Yeah. I think we've enjoyed Clyde the last few years because he's been in prison, actually paying for his crimes. Mm-hmm. Some crimes, not all of them, but some crimes. And though he's been on Ben and Ciara's side, exactly. It's Annette, that's exactly what I'm getting at. It's like
just put it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the person's like, okay, you may accept them as family, but that does not mean you want to live with them.
No. But the fact that he just walked in and just assumed, well, I guess it's in character for Clyde, but to just assume. But yeah, I wouldn't want, no. I don't care if they've mended fences or anything. No. Bad news.
No, it's a terrible idea.
They're not there yet. Yeah.
And Clyde also has to comment on everything. So let's say he actually meets the conditions of his parole and is a model citizen and doesn't actually do anything illegal. Let's just, go with best case scenario that he doesn't actually do anything illegal now that he's on parole. He still has a compulsion to comment on every little thing. So the idea that this man is going to be staying in their new home with them and he's going to have opinion on, like say it's a girl, it should have been a boy. You know what? He's going to have a comment on everything. It's going to drive Ciara crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's also his, like
you have to repeat that, Justin.
The stuff with we
didn't get that whole thing, Justin. Can you repeat that?
Oh, did we lose you? Oh, we may have lost Justin.
I think we lost.
Oh, he's moving.
Justin, you're kind of freezing up.
Yeah, he's
Isn't it a 2-bedroom place?
The new place, I can't remember. Was it a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
Either way,
it was definitely bigger than the Demira outhouse or whatever the hell they were living in.
They perfectly planned room for this tiny person.
Right.
Not
and now
for
Clyde's
a
going to
whole
take up that room. Yeah.
grown ass man.
Not for a grown ass man. Criminal.
Yeah. And babies come with a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff. Okay? Like an adult has less furniture than a baby. Okay? So this is not going to work. You think Ben will actually let him stay, or will he?
I think
he'd let him
Ben,
stay for a little while and kick him out.
I think it's going to be like, okay, you can stay here maybe until the baby's born, and then you have to leave.
Yeah, I think they feel like they probably owe Clyde for helping.
Because he did help. Yeah, he did help them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so there may be a little bit of obligation. Ciara's not going to like it. Ben's going to convince her that do it just until the baby's born. That's my prediction, that it's going to be until the baby's born. But then, you know, we'll see what happens when the baby's born.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're all glad that Clyde is supportive of this relationship, because that means he's not interfering with it.
Yeah.
But that is not the same thing as we want him there with them full time.
Yeah.
Not even a little. Not even a little bit. Especially if he's not the grandparent that's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's like it would be different if he intended to be like a hands-on grandpa. That's not Clyde.
And in Everybody Loves Raymond world, he's the Frank Barone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If anyone gets that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, man. I don't think I could even picture it. Like, even if you try, I don't think I could picture it. It's just not. Yeah. It's not there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. So unwanted house guests. Yikes.
Unwanted house guests.
Yep. Okay, so let's move quickly to our last tidbit, which was Steve and Trip. Steve finally catching up on his kid's life. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. He's been back a bit. He needed to come. We needed this scene earlier.
Yeah. Because I mean, they've been back. I would say like, oh, he was off at the island with Kayla, but they've been back for a minute. Kayla's back to work. You know, getting stuff done. So
yeah.
This is the scene.
First. Yeah,
it was a nice scene between them.
I mean, yeah, but then we talked a little bit about this earlier about how Ava and Trip are kind of in the same boat. So they have a new unfortunate bond of being deceived and being lied to and getting their hearts broken. So they're sympathizing with each other right now. And again, Steve was another person who doesn't sympathize. The exact same thing happened to them, and he doesn't sympathize with Ava, but he does sympathize with his son. But now he's going a step further, and he's actually gonna try to prove that Ava committed a crime. I get that Steve wants to support Rafe, but should he be? Is this a smart thing for him to do? Should he be? Is he the one to be going after Ava? I'll phrase it like that.
It should be John. Yeah. If it's a black patch moment, then it should be John.
It should be Rafe.
Or Rafe.
Yeah.
Or someone else. Because Steve is too personally invested in the whole thing.
I think it's under the guise of like Ava's back to her old tricks, so I need to protect Trip. I think this is where he's coming from. Because I think he was sort of getting used to Ava sort of wanting to turn her life around. And especially that last conversation they had a few months ago where she was suspecting something about Rafe. And it was Steve who sort of gave her like a pep talk and was like, he seemed to be getting used to her being this new person. And now I think for him, he's sort of like, oh God, like, you know, Trip and her were getting along. She was being this new person. She was with Rafe. And now all that came crumbling down. And let's face it, Ava did set Rafe up. So I think Steve is right. So I think he's dealing with the aftermath of like, it's sort of like an "I told you so," but he didn't want to be right, and now I think he's going to do it for Trip essentially.
Yeah, but my concern here is that, in his effort to get justice, which I'm sorry, in this case is not his job. No one has hired him to do it. Let Rafe handle it since he's actually the police.
Mm-hmm.
My fear is that he's going to put Trip in a really awful position.
Yeah.
That like you guys said, if it needs to be a black patch thing, let it be John, so that Steve can just be there for his son.
Mm-hmm.
There's in this case, I think that Trip is an adult. I don't think he has any illusions about his mother's past / present.
Yeah.
I think Trip knows. I think deep down Trip knows that Ava set Rafe up. But he's never going to outright ask her.
No,
because he doesn't want.
Right.
No, because he doesn't want to know. There are just some things just like, I know this, but I don't want to know this, so I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
Yep. There you
go. Yeah. So why, because Trip's not stupid. So my thing is that sometimes the best thing you can do to protect someone is to not protect them and just to be there for them. Don't interfere, which I feel like Steve is now going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm glad we're done with "quote unquote" domesticated Ava. I think we're all sort of fine with that. So I think we're getting back to old Ava. Maybe not as devious and crazy as she was, but yeah, more so at her actual true self.
And mind you, I think Ava is kind of handling it better than Steve is. Granted, she's the one that committed the crimes, but she could have been really defensive, and she could have. There are several different ways she could have played out that interaction with Steve, but she was pretty diplomatic, and she's like, "I'm not going to answer your question because I don't have to, and I'm going to go have lunch with our son now.
Yep.
Goodbye." That's it.
Yeah.
It was diplomatic. It was simple. She could have been very defensive and pissy, and she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you see why I'm on Ava's side here? Like, yeah. I mean, it's not much growth, but it's more growth than we've had from her in the past.
Yep.
Yeah. And everyone else is just being self-righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And Araceli's tired, so I don't have time for these people.
Was that our week of days?
That was our week of days.
Great.
Guys, I made it.
Yes.
We still got some left, so
we got some left. So let's move on to our segments. Again, Tony Moore's not here. Tony Moore will be back, I believe he said next week.
Yep.
So you'll get more of Tony Moore then. Till then, we will start with Caption That.
All right. This week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of EJ and Clyde in jail. And this week's caption comes courtesy of Sonny.love on Instagram with their caption, "I told you we were wearing dark denim today. Not that washed out vintage look."
Oh, that's cute.
So there you go.
It was a cute one.
And that was your Caption That.
Mm-hmm.
That was your Caption That. And now we move on to Those Were the Days.
Mm-hmm. This week's segment, I'm taking you guys back to March 24th, 1994, where Kate realized Austin and Billy were her presumed dead children.
Oh, how nice is that
such a
cover.
great storyline. I know, right? I know. I saw, and I was looking for pictures of the three of them together, and I wasn't finding a ton, but I saw that cover and was like, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was such a great big storyline. It sort of roped in everyone in town. It roped in Curtis as a major villain. It sort of ushered in Lucas. It ushered in Vivian and Laura back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
This was just a great storyline. It all sort of kicked off with, of course, Kate having a secret and us, us trying to find out what her and Marlena knew and what their secret was. And it was, that Austin, well, we sort of knew before they did, but that Austin and Billy were her presumed dead children and that sort of saga. But March 24th in 1994. And this was when I was really getting into the show kind of in the 90s and getting back to it. So
when I first started watching, Austin was okay with Kate, but Billy was still kind of cold, and Billy needed a favor from Kate, and it was the first time Billy had called her mother, but she kind of called her mother to like grease the wheels a little bit. So I remembered that, and I was trying to. I remember because I was trying to reconcile. I'm like, oh, is this is her mom? Okay, and then Austin's her brother. That's when I was figuring out the relationships of everybody on the show.
Yeah, they started off as rivals first, and so good to see.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was.
And those were the days. And now it's time for It's a GIF. This week's It's a GIF goes to Ciara and Ben's very determined reaction to Susan almost spilling the beans about their baby's gender. But I feel like this was a very good pre-parenting moment for them. It's like getting ready. Like, well, what's the number one word you say to a toddler?
Yes. Yeah. No. Knows in the future. Yeah.
No. Or a dog.
It was good prep. And it was also funny because, poor Susan was like, why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
Did you notice? Okay, I've noticed this little thing. Whenever Stacy or whenever Susan comes in, like she always touches.
She does, yeah.
Touches Rob's stomach.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
I mean, Susan was the light this week. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about this week? I'll mention it briefly. We didn't talk about the scene with her and EJ.
Oh, right.
Susan and EJ. Guys, forever I will love Stacey Hyduke because man has the EJ Susan relationship has basically been non-existent up to this point, and man did it get a jolt this year.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're so grateful for it.
Yeah.
I love them together, and you see the sort of softer side of EJ and how he sort of relates to Susan, and he doesn't. There's not like shame there, and even when like he explains or like he says like even to Clyde, he was like, "This is my mom. Yeah, she's eccentric." Kind of moving on, and it is what it is. Yeah,
that's his mom.
Yeah. She's my mom. She loves me. I know that she's kind of kooky, but that's just a part of her charm.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Which is, we all have, everybody kind of has a parent or an aunt or an uncle like that. So we're just like, they're kooky, but we love them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So forever, Stacey Hyduke, you get my best gift this week because you were just so much fun. And that's what was this week's It's a GIF. And let's move on to news and gossip. Justin, take it away.
Yes, we are starting off with a big congratulations to Ron Calavardi in his writers. Lorraine, I'll just read them because I feel like they should get some praise. Lorraine Brodern, Joanna Cohen, Caroline Coulaton, Richard Coulaton, James Giddens, David Kreisman, Rebecca McCarthy, Ryan Kwan, Dave Ryan, Catherine Shook, Elizabeth Snyder. Yeah, big congratulations. They won the Writers Guild Award for Best Daytime Drama. So big congratulations to Ron and the writing team. Yeah.
Yes, and writers care about the Writers Guild because that's how we get our paychecks and that's how we get our insurance. So when the Writers Guild pays attention to us, we're like, thank you.
Yeah, moving on. Next up, we have a couple new additions to the Days YouTube channel, which they've been actually filling out and trying to get some content on there. We have Mr. Bill Hayes singing a little bit of Heaven, which is so just cute and endearing. And if you didn't have a reason to love Bill Hayes, go watch this clip on YouTube on their YouTube channel. And yes, it's just him singing a little bit of Heaven for St. Patrick's Day. And then we have this really interesting interview. Please go and watch it between Susan Seaforth Hayes, Julie, and Suzanne Rogers, Maggie, where let me get straight because I kept mixing them up. Susan interviews Suzanne about her time on the show, and they really sort of go back and talk about Maggie's first storyline, and they show a lot of archival days footage of Suzanne's first first few weeks as Maggie. They talk about their relationship and how they're connected, and even I believe Susan's mom was a writer. And she even wrote Suzanne's Emmy-winning scenes that she won an Emmy for a couple of 20 years ago or something. So they have this connection and friendship, and I think they're gonna do another interview where it's the reverse. Suzanne will interview Susan, and so this was sort of in honor of Women's History Month. So go check it out. It's this really sweet interview between two old friends who have been co-stars for decades in an exploration, specifically this one exploration on Suzanne's time on the show. So go check it out. It's really interesting, really great, and you'll learn some little tidbits there. Next up, we have one of our favorites. Yes, I know. Mr. Matt Santino, Brandon Walker. He is going to be starring in a new Netflix film called Best Christmas Ever alongside Jason Biggs and Heather Graham. Matt, one thing about Matt Santino is he stays busy. He always is popping up on movies and TV shows. So even though as much as we want him back on days, we know he's busy, but a big congratulations to him. He's going to be filming that soon, and we will definitely keep you abreast of when that's available. I'm sure, obviously, it'll be out Christmas and Netflix, but we will remind you, as it gets closer. Last but not least, we have a Starstruck fan event, another one coming up. Then the one last one was Soaps 2.0. This one is called Stir It Up. It takes place in Atlanta on this summer, July 3rd, the weekend of July 30th and 31st. Those in attendance from Days are Brandon Barash, Matt Ashford, Mike Manning, and Eric Motzoff. For more information on tickets and information for the event, go to starstruckfanevents.com.
Nice.
And
that's it this week.
And before we leave, I wanted to remind people we announced this a couple of weeks ago, but we weren't sure of the timing of it. Tyler Christopher, the original Stefan Demera, his talk with Maurice Bernard, State of Mind, dropped this morning.
Great.
It's over an hour long. It's super in depth. Go check it out. I think I'm like 20 minutes in. Didn't get a chance to finish it all. Nice. But it's super, super in depth. So if anybody's interested, that interview dropped this morning. Go check it out.
Cool.
Okay. And that was your news and gossip. And let's figure out what's going on next week. I
want to be with you now. I really love you.
You cheated with my boyfriend. Ow!
Okay. All right. That Chloe Brady stuff was pretty hot. I know we've been on them. That was
Look, Nadia Bjorlin knows. Look, Nadia and Eric know how to pull off good love scenes. They do.
Yeah.
So,
they know the assignment.
They know the assignment. So I actually prefer this to them talking at this point, because they've talked and talked and talked and talked and talked.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Time for talking is gone now. Bye-bye. And we're getting back to some actual, like, literal soapy goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some smutty soapy goodness.
Smutty soapy goodness. Everybody, even if you don't like the characters, you can appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, and that was this week's Dishin Days. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Dishin Days Show on Facebook, at Dishin Days on Instagram, and _Dishin Days on Twitter. And then make sure you follow us on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart. Take your pick your poison, whatever you want. Take us with you wherever. And then buy our merch at dishindays.threadless.com. And I am Araceli Aviles, and I can be found on Twitter at Tia323Araceli. And Justin, where can the people find you?
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
And Michael, where can the people find you?
You can find me and Bimby on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis.
And Bimby. All right.
You'll see more Bimby than you do of me, but
yeah, well, Bambi's adorable, so we don't mind.
He's adorable. Him a good boy. You're a sweet boy. And
Oh
his
my God.
brand new Easter shirt.
Is it an Easter
Yeah.
shirt?
It's an
What does
Easter
it say?
shirt, and it on the back it says "Chicks dig me."
They do, Bambi. They do.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Okay, I gotta go find my girl. She disappeared from me today.
Uh-oh.
So thank you for joining us, everyone. We will
Yes.
see you next week for an all new episode of Dishin Days.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
See you next week.